Greatest joy that I confirm with the letter. Acceptance into private acting school. Okay.
So, this girl took lessons at the famous Doris Fletcher acting school.
It's only a shame that her disease made her look like not much of a girl, but more like a 50-year-old woman. I think we're inventing the Nosferatu strain of the condition, guys. I do not think that we should stop this. I think we should let it continue. Oh! Wolfie. Don't even think I need to go here, but... When you see a corner, you just must investigate it. Corners are cool. There we go. Corner Wolfie gone. Now what was in this corner, eh? What were you guarding, dear wolf? Another quarantine poster. Some rats.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Why not? Rats are tasty. Nom nom rats. Seems that this corner had nothing. Huh. What kind of game has a corner that has nothing? That's not very fair. You put nice things in the corners for people to find. Okay. I can't run around like this. There are quite a lot of posters around. That's for sure. I would investigate, but there's like no more citizens in the streets. What else? House. Did they respond? Don't think I can eavesdrop on them. I don't think they're saying anything important. Oh, we found the door. We found the door. Which is where? Would it be sewers? Do we get to talk with the sewers calls? There's no definitely sewers. Ooh! Horned vampire! There is a tale but forgotten or mysticized history, but by essence, vampires are related to the concept of immortality, and they can be perceived as entities that live through centuries, thus becoming mythical creatures themselves. But what about the concept of a tale so old it could become a myth among the vampires? I know it may sound vertiginous, but we know as scholars that the impossible is just unexplained and undocumented event. For a few years now, I've tried to find traces of a figure rarely seen amongst the English immortals, the horned vampire. No, they legitimately mean moose man, which is why I'm interested. Though centuries, less than 10 occurrences of this figure can be found in the various documents gathered by our order. The figure of a man-shaped silhouette, sometimes made of blood, sometimes made of mist or rain, that appears from Wales to Scotland, only to immortals who have no idea what this thing could be. What is this creature with large deer antlers? It is related in any way to the figure of Cernunnos, the ancestral horned god of the Celts? We don't know at all. But now I think about this. Vampires themselves have no idea what this creature could be. Now that's a frightening idea. We may be in the presence of something so old that only small hints of its existence can be found through eons. If this is true, we as Brothers of St. Paul need to investigate this entity, for it could help us understand the forgotten origin of vampires. As a reminder, I add to this letter a transcription of the only written evidence we possess concerning the horned vampire, the odd poem entitled The Dreams of the Red Queen, supposedly composed by this entity. According to some vampire testimonies, the creature has sometimes been heard singing it while briefly appearing somewhere in Great Britain. I invite all of our brothers to study the text and consider it a testament of forgotten history. 12 dreams for the Red Queen under crown of stone, that she may linger longer with eyes kept close, 11 thorns blooming from her troubled brow, awaiting the next harvest to be gleaned at brisk springs, 10 copper veins ripped from the belly of the earth, melted into tears flowing towards banished brothers, 9 glorious pyres on the scorched plain to punish those whose hands were slow to obey, 8 voracious beasts born from 8 restless nights, their backs hardened by their race with the sun, 7 notes of warning in the summer sky compelled child to shield sheets of sleep, 6 watchers bent on the hunting trails, shadows of their spears traced the tired furrows, 5 houses to fall before the song's end, then 5 more reborn from their blackened ashes, 4 nails piercing the flesh of the sinner, restlessly hung to the dark wood of his crimes, 3 books scribbled by pen of the dancer who refuses to answer the call of the abyss, 2 giant rival snakes slither in ageless forest, coiled to the bones of mortals destined for the grave, 1 prayer for the summoned called by his song, child born from darkness whose path he must find. That's interesting, Moose Man. There we go. My back button wasn't being registered. The most interesting lore so far in the game is the Bloody Moose Man. So every time I'm like, ooh, Moose Man, I actually get excited. Then we have our very British Camarilla that just stands there going, ooh, yes, our blood is so pure. Like some really weird posh boys club. Who is in the sewer?
It's locked, all right.
Lingering below. Is this one sewer connecting the whole of the place? Or are there many sewers? Will I come to a different place than always? Or is it the same place? Where am I going? This looks very familiar. I do believe that this is the same place. Okay, so it has many entrances. Good to know. Not where we're supposed to go. But I did like that lore on the Moose Man. Moose, 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 moose. Also, free shillings and reasons. Busy place in the store. Thanks, all sorts of them. How much money was this common in the store today? I can just go down, you'll be like, oh, a pound. Ready to find out how many pounds? I just boxes in the store today. So there he's locked.
Can't continue like this.
Oh, hello! You're new!
Good evening, miss. Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reid.
I am Karina Billow. I don't need any doctor. The rats. Where are the rats?
Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats? Has one bitten you?
No, it's me who bites them. Tasty, juicy, disgusting rats. I can't stop eating them. Help me, please. Help me to disobey the voice.
Considering one of her eyes, I do believe she's infected.
Can I help you, Miss Billow? I'm a doctor.
The rats. I need them.
Okay, I can't really cure a skull.
Tell me about yourself, Miss Billow. What do you do for a living?
I'm hungry. Need to eat. Have you got something for me? Blood, perhaps? Can you give me blood, Dr. Reid?
Don't you remember who you are, miss? What you did for work?
I was strong, proud. I campaigned for good causes. But that was before. Before. It does not matter anymore. I'm so hungry.
What happened to you?
The rats. The answer hides in their little crunchy bones. Their juicy, tiny brains.
Miss Billow, please, try to concentrate. Why do you worry about rats?
She doesn't worry about
The
them.
voice in my head. He forces me to do so. Drink their blood, he said. Eat their flesh.
Tell me about the voice in your head. Who is it? Can you describe it? Is it someone you know? Someone you met?
Keep your mouth shut, he said. Don't ever speak about me, or I'll abandon you. Help me, please, Doctor.
Okay, if you are gonna speak about him, why don't you just do it?
Do you feel compelled to obey that voice, Miss Billow? Even if you're loath to submit to it?
Yes. Please. Help.
Hello!
What is the local news hereabouts, Miss Billow?
Shadows. Shadows hunting shadows. Whispers in the dark. Pestilence. Suffering. Death.
That is a fantastic description of the current situation here.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed?
I'm like
anything?
good 12 hours in, it's pretty good.
Infection. The rats carry it, I heard. Rats.
I did an episode where I just talked to people for 3 hours and that got really boring because a lot of them have very puny little
And where is
thoughts.
this house?
I'm mostly just interested in the moose man.
Very far. A big house.
I like
with
this
no
lady though because she's a bit
sound,
nuts.
no light, no life left.
Well, we checked that
I must
house.
go now.
Lowest everything, now I upped them a little bit. Reid's mansion? Who is Reid? Oh! Could you be a citizen that I've been missing?
Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan, I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, it's a miracle. We all thought you were... Oh, sir, your poor sister. What a tragedy.
I know, Avery. I know about my sister's murder.
Miss Reid expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been, Mr. Jonathan? We needed you here.
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reid is very fragile since the police brought her back home.
The police? What happened?
Miss Reid was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter. She's resting now.
That's not very good.
Has she received appropriate medical care?
I'm taking care of Miss Reid myself. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the epidemic that they can only accept patients infected by influenza.
Do you need medical...
Thank you.
Okay, you're still fine.
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry, I simply could not attend.
I
would
decided
not
to
dare
stare
to
from the
question your
balcony.
absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
How is
Not well, I'm...
the police?
Miss Reid...
Okay.
Perhaps we could arrange a short trip. Somewhere sunny, like France. She has always been very fond of France. I think leaving London could do her good.
I'm afraid Miss Reid is too frail for the moment. Recently, she started going out at night without remembering it. I have to watch her carefully.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I live.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir. So my task is not over.
I'm living in the hospital. I'm okay.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
Do you really think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do, Mr. Jonathan.
You clearly have something more to say. Speak your mind, Avery.
I know you work hard to help the sick, but what will you do once the epidemic is over?
My home is here, and I have nowhere else to go. But this house will need some improvements if I move here. Some radical changes.
Like
That's
a coffin.
good news. Whatever changes you have in mind, I'm sure we will find an arrangement that suits your mother also.
I'm currently investigating sources of the epidemic in this part of town. Do you know anything useful?
Not really, except all the Macpherson's servants resigned a few days ago. They feared becoming infected, they said.
The Macphersons? Where do they live?
I think it's a rich house near the railway bridge in the southern part of the district.
Okay, we found that one
Goodbye.
guy with a
Please
bit
watch.
Of
more
course, Mr.
information.
Jonathan.
Wow! That was near fatal error levels of lag.